News, Civic Center TV and 89.3 WBLD Orchard Lake, West Bloomfield, Kego Harbor, Sylvan Lake, 89.3 Lakes FM. It's the Megacast, an hour-long TV and radio streaming show keeping you informed on the day-to-day news. Live from West Bloomfield, we're bringing you the news, updates, and information impacting communities around Michigan. Join our host, Tyler Kieft, as he talks with community members, business leaders, and professional experts about the stories that impact you. You're watching the Megacast on Civic Center TV.
When the temperatures are chilly, being together warms the soul. Keep the winter fun going. Help protect yourself and those around you by keeping your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. Can I ask you a question? Why do you want to get the COVID-19 vaccine?
I don't like getting sick.
The virus will die.
It will be easy to not catch it.
Keep my family safe and keep playing soccer.
Because I love being vaccinated.
What's your hope for everyone?
I hope everybody gets the vaccine.
To keep safe and strong.
Be like happy, having fun everywhere.
Everyone stay safe and hope you get the vaccine.
1 in 4 Michigan homes has high levels of radon, a naturally occurring radioactive gas known to cause lung cancer. It doesn't matter where you live or what type of home you have. You won't even know it's there unless you test. So don't wait. Testing is cheap and easy. And if there's a problem, it's simple to fix. Visit michigan.gov/radon to learn more.
We took action. Will you?
Hello, nose. My nose knows is when somebody uses the bathroom. Mom, Pauline is flush.
Ooh, I smell cookies.
I smell an A+. How could my nose be running when it stays on my face?
Our noses know if those sniffles are just a cold, allergies, or COVID-19. So swab it. Test it. It's good to know.
Let's savor these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the dining out going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date.
My Michigan TV is streaming everywhere on Apple TV, Roku, Fire TV, and more smart TV apps. My Michigan TV is on your phone too. Take us with you wherever you go. Just search for My Michigan TV on your favorite app store or visit mymitv.com. All Michigan, streaming everywhere. My Michigan TV.
Wondering what to say to someone who's been sexually assaulted or abused?
I believe you. I'm so sorry this happened.
It's not your fault.
Confidential and anonymous help is available at the Michigan Sexual Assault Hotline. Connect with us 24/7. Call 855-VOICES-4 or text 1-866-238-1454 for help. Learn more at michigan.gov/voices4. Let's relish these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the festivals going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date.
I'm Steve Eiserman of the Detroit Red Wings, and I think every child in Michigan deserves a safe, healthy, and happy childhood. Can we build a state where Children Trust Michigan isn't just a name, but something our kids believe? Please support Children Trust Michigan as the voice for children and families by visiting the website to learn more.
Now that the vaccine is available for children 5 and up, why do you recommend it?
Kids are part of the community and they can spread COVID.
We're seeing both healthy children getting sick from the virus as well as children with underlying health conditions.
They can easily bring the virus home to other people that are vulnerable and make them sick as well.
This vaccine can change that and keep children safe.
It's essential that your children get vaccinated to protect them, to protect your families, and to protect those in the community around you.
There are many different kinds of noses. Our noses can sniff out all kinds of things. Good things and bad things. Your nose knows if those sniffles are just a cold, allergies, or COVID-19. So swab it. Test it. It's good to know.
You're listening to your radio homes for the Megacast, 89.3 WBLD Orchard Lake and 88.1 WBFH Bloomfield Hills. Today's edition of the Megacast begins now. Welcome to the Megacast, our live daily TV, radio, and streaming show talking about all things Michigan. I'm Tyler Kieft. Today we'll be talking to a number of people about topics of interest and importance to Michiganders just like you. Let's begin with what's making headlines today on CivicCenterTV.com's local news page. Our top story comes from Eileen Wingblad at the Oakland Press. Walmart stores in Oakland and Wayne counties came under threat on Monday morning, receiving calls of bomb threats similar to those being called into these stores all across the country. According to the Oakland County Sheriff's Office, Walmart locations in Rochester Hills and White Lake received the threatening calls at about 11 a.m. yesterday, demanding a cash ransom or they would blow up the store. Then another location in Canton received a similar threat. In all of these cases, these threats, of course, were false, and authorities not only evacuated the buildings, but also investigated with bomb-sniffing dogs and worked with store management in order to reopen these facilities by the afternoon. Said Oakland County Sheriff Michael Bouchard, quote, "We've seen similar things happen in different parts of the country. In the other threats, they were not credible, but out of an abundance of caution, explosive detection dogs were sent to check the stores, and we will be working with other authorities locally and nationally to investigate these matters," and closed quote. Also making headlines today on our local news page on CivicCenterTV.com from Frank Witzel at the Detroit Free Press. Michiganders, this week may be the week to go fill up your gas tanks if you're running a little bit low, as the state's average price per gallon has fallen 8 cents over the past week. That being said, prices are still averaging out at about $3.39 per gallon statewide, that according to AAA. Said Gas Buddies Patrick DeHaan, quote, "Be wary as we're likely to eventually see increases again down the road," and closed quote. Also noting that prices tend to fall in the month of February when the demand for gas is lower during this part of the winter season. The average per gallon price of gas at this time is 8 cents higher than it stood a month ago and 2 cents higher than this time in February of 2022. Metro Detroit has some of the most expensive gas prices on average in the Great Lakes state at this time, with the local average at about $3.45 per gallon, followed by Ann Arbor at $3.42 per gallon, and Jackson in mid-Michigan at $3.41. The cheapest prices across the state at this time stand in Benton Harbor at $3.26 a gallon, Grand Rapids at $3.27 a gallon, and way up north in Marquette at $3.33 per gallon. So prices are still high, but not as high as they have been. That makes the big question for you. Do you fill up now when prices are a little bit lower, when they've dropped? Do you wait for them to maybe go a little bit lower while demand is down and expected to remain down during the month of February as it has in the past? Or while doing that, risk the prices jumping back again soon, as they're expected to do so. What's your plan? Let us know on our social media, on Twitter at Civic Center TV, and on Facebook, on our Facebook Live video by going to facebook.com/Civic Center TV 15 and commenting on today's live edition, live simulcast of the Megacast. Finally, making headlines today on CivicCenterTV.com's local news page from Louis Aguilar at the Detroit News. Really cool stuff coming from the Michigan Department of Natural Resources, or DNR. If you're itching to go catch some big fish this season or in the near future, the DNR wants to lend a helping hand, launching a new map called the Master Angler Map, indicating areas of Michigan where the biggest fish of all of its native species have been caught. In addition, you will gain access to tips and tricks on what bait and lures to use to put yourself in the best position to make that big catch out on the waterways. And the DNR is loving this new feature, not only because of the ways that it will attract fishermen and other anglers and casual fishermen like you and I to our waterways, but also for its benefits to researchers. Said Seth Herbst, their aquatic species and regulatory affairs unit manager, quote, "Not only is the new Master Angler Program map helpful to anglers, but also benefits our biologists by providing information submitted by anglers that will help us better understand our fisheries and help inform management decisions," and closed quotes. That can impact not only the regulations that the DNR and the state put into place on how many of each kind of fish can be fished over the course of a season, putting limits on catching different fish in different waterways, putting more efforts into replenishing populations of certain species of fish in certain waterways in different regions of the state. It also provides you with an opportunity to go put your best foot forward and make sure you bring the right bait, the right lures, and have a great experience out on the water fishing for some of the big fish in the many waters here in the state of Michigan. So now it's your turn to join the fun, and you may even gain some bragging rights in the process, as the DNR awards a Master Angler patch to individuals who catch the biggest fish of each of Michigan's native species year by year. A link to the Master Angler map from the Department of Natural Resources is linked in this article from the Detroit News. You can find that on our website, find a link to that article on our website on CivicCenterTV.com. Just go to our local news page, click on that headline on our local news page. It'll take you to that article that has that link to the interactive map from the Master Angler Program from the Michigan Department of Natural Resources. All of those headlines making news today and throughout the week are on our website, CivicCenterTV.com, on our local news page, along with helpful links to COVID-19 and other public health information from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, locally from the Oakland County Health Division, and federally from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, right at the top of the page. Again, CivicCenterTV.com. Just click on local news. We have a great show ahead on this Tuesday edition of the Megacast. Coming up next, we'll learn about the treatment and recovery from eating disorders and also learn about the many benefits of physical therapy. Plus, share Detroit partners with us in the final segment of today's show to highlight one of over 300 charities and nonprofits supported on their platform. Stay tuned. You're watching and listening to the Megacast.
In the face of COVID-19, staying healthy is important.
And now the same is true in the face of flu.
Influenza has the power to infect millions.
But it's easy to protect yourself, your family, and your community.
The flu vaccine is safe and effective. And with COVID-19 still around,
it's essential. Together we can face flu season head on.
Visit michigan.gov/flu.
Many people are feeling overwhelmed and struggling with mental wellness these days. So be kind to your mind. Give yourself permission to breathe. Share your feelings. You are not alone. Have hope. Talk to a Stay Well counselor for free confidential help 24/7 through the COVID-19 hotline.
Ronnie started doing prescription pills at the age of 15, and by 19, he died. If your child is struggling with drug use, try not to be too proud to reach out for help. Don't be worried about what the neighbor will think or your family. Just get your child the help they need. Sometimes it's the hard road to take, but the hard road is nothing compared to living with the fact that your child is no longer with you.
There's hope and help at drugfree.org.
Welcome back to the Megacast, our live daily TV, radio, and streaming show talking about all things Michigan. I'm Tyler Kieft. Learn more about our program on our website, civiccentertv.com, on our Megacast page, civiccentertv.com/Megacast, where you'll find more information on all of our partnering stations across the Great Lakes State, including My Michigan TV, and find all of our full shows and each individual interview segment on demand as well. civiccentertv.com/Megacast is the place to go for that. According to the nonprofit ANAD, eating disorders affect about 9% of the world's population in their lifetime, including just below 29 million Americans, resulting in one death every 52 minutes. So, how do we treat them? How do we help people recover from eating disorders? And better yet, how do we prevent people from being affected by them? Joining us now on the program is Dr. Patricia Jesu from the Nutrition Counseling Center in Bloomfield Township. Dr. Jesu, thank you so much for joining us to talk about this today.
Thank you.
Glad to have you on to talk about. Yeah, glad to have you on to talk about this. For those that may not be familiar with the Nutrition Counseling Center, go ahead and tell us just a little bit as we start off about the different services that you provide.
Sure. So Nutrition Counseling Center is located in Bloomfield Hills, and we also have locations in Troy and Clarkston. And we are a team of dietitians who are all specialized in eating disorders. So we treat, as you mentioned, men and women, young and old, helping them in their recovery path in their eating disorder journey. So we are all highly specialized, and then we also work in teams of psychologists and physicians and lots of community resources to help folks in their struggles.
Yeah, and it's interesting too, because as much as there's variation in the kinds of people that are affected by eating disorders, there's also the same variation in the ways that different eating disorders affect different people, or how they end up with this eating disorder. It's not necessarily something that always just happens like a light switch flipping on and all of a sudden that they're having some issues with food. These are things that do develop over time and can have quite severe effects. So doctor, as we explore eating disorders and as we're discovering eating disorders in different people, how do professionals like you then begin to address these different issues, given that there's so much variation and so many different ways someone can be led into an eating disorder?
Absolutely. Eating disorders are definitely multifactorial. So we really need to understand each patient individually and the origins of their eating disorder and where it came from for them and what they're uniquely struggling with. Eating disorders have a lot of similarities, but there's also a lot of differences as well. So our job is to really uncover some of that. We treat people in a multi-pronged approach, meaning there typically should be a dietitian, a physician, a psychologist, and then even at times a psychiatrist on the treatment team. And so we're all collaboratively talking and addressing the patient's needs so that we can treat them in the most effective way as possible.
And talk about that collaboration and elaborate a little bit more on that collaboration, because I would imagine that given that there are so many different factors that can affect someone and lead them to eventually develop an eating disorder, those factors also have an impact on that eating disorder, how it develops, how it manifests itself, and those can even change over time. So just how extensive is that collaboration between professionals of different backgrounds to treat one patient at a time, even just one single patient, and have an effective treatment be developed for them in their situation?
Well, it's our belief at Nutrition Counseling Center that it's very important to do that. So we really like to work with members of the community who are willing and able to take the time outside of the actual patient care time to meet with us and talk with us and collaborate. Eating disorders affect the physical body, which is where the physician comes in. It also affects the mind and the psychology, which is where the therapist is valuable. And then the dietitian is really there to support the patient in refeeding and eating in a way that's going to help support their recovery. We know that malnutrition takes a medical toll on the body, and there's, again, the importance of the physician making sure things are okay and monitoring. But we also know that if somebody is underfed, their brain isn't working properly. And so the therapy that they're receiving isn't as effective as it needs to be or can be because their brain isn't functioning well. So our job as the dietitian is pretty critical in helping them restore their nutrition and getting their brain back to a place where their therapy can be effective and helping them in their recovery.
Dr. Patricia Jesu joins us on today's edition of the Megacast from Nutrition Counseling Center on the program. And Dr. Jesu, you mentioned that brain function is one of the things that can be affected quite significantly by an eating disorder, but there's a number of different other health effects to that. Someone that's struggling with their eating in one way or another, or a multitude of ways, can have on the body, and especially for those that are at younger ages, those children and those teens whose bodies are still developing, those can have severe, sometimes severe effects, and definitely some lasting effects on their development and on their bodies.
Absolutely. For our younger individuals, basically when they're malnourished, they're arresting their growth and development. And I always remind my young folks that you are growing and developing up until age 25. And I'm not necessarily referring to height. Obviously, we know we generally stop growing sooner than that, but the brain is still developing actively up until about age 25. So, when we're in a malnourished state, we are affecting all of those body systems, our growth and development. Bones become at risk for things like osteopenia and osteoporosis. Reproductive organs are affected as well. Usually young women will lose their menstrual cycle. And so we have potentially fertility and reproductive issues down the road. The GI system, so our stomachs, can really be impacted. So we're seeing lots of GI issues. And unfortunately, a lot of those are getting misdiagnosed by physicians as IBS or Crohn's, or maybe you should go on a gluten-free diet and that will help you. When in reality, it's kind of what we would just describe as malnutrition of the gut. And so, unfortunately, eating disorders impact all of these systems. And even for our adult folks who are fully developed and grown, these systems can be at risk as well.
And you can find more information from Nutrition Counseling Center by visiting their website. As was mentioned earlier, they're located in Bloomfield Township. You can find more information on the website, nutritioncounselingcenter.com. Nutritioncounselingcenter.com is their website. And as you're continuing to investigate the factors that have led someone into an eating disorder and begin those treatments, what do some of those treatments look like? Obviously, as you mentioned, continued consultation with a number of different professionals on the medical side, but those treatments too, I would imagine, if the causes are multifactorial, those treatments are also going to be multifactorial.
For sure, yes. And I'm so glad you bring that up, because it's important to know that we don't treat people in a one-size-fits-all approach. We really uniquely tailor our treatment protocol and plan to the needs of the patient, their family. Everybody comes to us with a different story and a different background. So we utilize a lot of counseling techniques. That's why we're called nutrition counseling. So we're not just giving people meal plans and telling them what to eat. We're really helping them understand their distorted thoughts around food. Why do they have these food fears? What is it that they fear in eating certain foods or certain amounts? And our main goal in all of our patients is helping them establish a relationship with food that feels at peace. I always tell my clients, you're going to have to eat every single day forever. That's part of our lives. Food is a reality of life. And so learning how to manage that in a way that feels safe and comfortable to you is my goal. And again, we reach that in different ways from person to person, but we utilize a lot of counseling techniques, a lot of acceptance and tolerance, a lot of cognitive behavioral therapy, understanding our distorted thoughts around food and trying to challenge and change them.
And then there's also, those, as we mentioned earlier, those long-term effects that come into play too. How do you maintain that over time? Because someone may be in a state that looks like recovery from an eating disorder, but those factors that led to that disorder can relapse and can have another effect on these people later on in life, and in some cases can lead them right back into the same issues they had before that led them to to consulting with yourself and other physicians associated with the Nutrition Counseling Center. And so, Dr. Jesu, how do you then work with the patients over time or with these physicians over time to help them not just recover from what they're currently experiencing, but to prevent relapse down the road too?
Yeah, another really important aspect of this. The relapse rates for eating disorders are not great. It's a 50-50 kind of ratio there. And so for our folks that we want to recover and keep them in recovery, we really educate them a lot on what relapse prevention looks like. What are those early detection signs that you might be slipping back into more of those eating disorder patterns? We help our patients identify that times of transition, whether it's positive or negative, a new job, going off to college, perhaps a divorce or a death in the family, any type of life transition is a vulnerable moment for folks to possibly want to engage back into their eating disorder. We know eating disorders are maladaptive coping mechanisms. It's how people unfortunately have learned to cope with distress and discomfort in their life. And so sometimes transitions will amplify some of those stressors and cause the person to want to engage in the eating disorder again. So we really educate our patients quite a bit on how to be mindful during those times of transitions and how to kind of put your extra coat of armor on during those vulnerable moments to help keep you protected in your recovery down the road.
And as we talk about that recovery and even going back to some of the root causes or the factors that lead someone into an eating disorder, so much of our world today is online and in the media, and as much as there's been in the past, these certain ideal body image, ideal body images that have been thrown at us over TV and over movies and in film. Now that's also being thrown at people on social media, and especially young people who are seeing this quote unquote idealistic depiction of what your body should look like. And when, variation comes into play, our life circumstances come into play, and we don't match that, it can be easy especially for young people to feel even more of that pressure, considering how much social media and the web go into their daily lives. Just how much of a factor or how much of an impact does social media, does the continued fragmentation of the media and all those other outside pressures have on people that ultimately can put them at risk for an eating disorder?
Absolutely. I want to be clear in saying that social media and a lot of these images that we see, they don't in and of themselves cause eating disorders. Eating disorders are multifactorial, and there's many things that occur in a person's life that can bring them to that point of having an eating disorder. However, social media is not helpful for those who are struggling with eating disorders, and they really can, as you said, paint a very unrealistic picture of what we're supposed to look like. They set these very unrealistic beauty standards that really impact even men. We're seeing more so, not just the female population. And so a lot of the times we work with our clients to help them with social media literacy, just understanding what to look for in social media and how to be more of a savvy consumer and not find yourself going down those rabbit holes where you're going to be left feeling inadequate about yourself and your body. We also remind our clients to set boundaries with their social media. We can't make it go away. It's a part of our lives, and it can be a very helpful part of our lives. But at the same time, it can cause a lot of frustration and feelings of selflessness and inadequacy in our patients. So we teach them how to set boundaries, how to unfollow social media outlets that are not servicing them in a positive way. There's lots of great social media outlets out there that are very body positive and very recovery focused. So we help them find those sources as well.
More information and to get in contact with Dr. Jesu and the other professionals at the Nutrition Counseling Center can be found on their website, nutritioncounselingcenter.com. Dr. Jesu, thank you so much for joining us and diving into what's a difficult topic to discuss, but there's so much that goes into this, both the causes and then the treatments, and ultimately keeping people in recovery. We appreciate your insight.
And I appreciate you bringing awareness to this very important topic, and thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
The Nutrition Counseling Center is located in Bloomfield Township, just off of Telegraph Road. You can also find them on their website, nutritioncounselingcenter.com, and call them 248-686-0340, 248-686-0340. for more information. Their address 1750 South Telegraph Road, Suite 102 in Bloomfield Hills. Joining us now on the Megacast is Nimesh Seth from Resurgence Physical Therapy in West Bloomfield, and to talk to us more about how does a physical therapy program help you recover from maybe an injury or help you manage maybe some ailments you're having as a result of a disease like MS or Parkinson's, or recovery from a potential incident like a stroke and so on. There's so many different ways that physical therapy can be of benefit to you in your health and fitness program, and just to maintain your mobility over the course of your lifetime. Mr. Seth, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me over. I appreciate it.
Yeah, glad to have you on to talk about this, because people go to physical therapy for a number of different reasons, whether it be a recovery from an injury or something that may be just a little bit off with their mobility, or just simply to help them recover and adjust to new lifestyles if they're afflicted with certain diseases, including MS or Parkinson's or something like that. There's many different reasons why people would go to physical therapy. How does it benefit them?
So physical therapy, we look at patients or the people in a very different way. It's not just doing exercises. It's trying to improve the lifestyle. It's trying to improve the habits. We see people from different ages and different, occupations and stuff, and coming out of different injuries or surgeries, or having some different medical conditions, as you mentioned. We work with them on a very individual level to help improve their function and their daily life. It's very important to understand what is exactly limiting the patient during their day-to-day activity, and work on that.
And so how do you evaluate that at the start? Because there are, as you mentioned, and as I've said, so many different reasons why people are seeking physical therapy, and so many different ways and methods to enact that physical therapy to help your patients however they may need it. So where does that start in your evaluation and in other professionals in your industry's evaluations to put together that right program for that right individual in their current situation?
See, a lot of people seek for physical therapy for different reasons, including pain, including weakness, or ineffective balance, or deficits with their walking and falls and stuff. So patient comes in with a script from the physician or an ortho, and we have a little bit of background in head, like what to expect. And then when patient comes in for initial assessment to us, we evaluate every aspect of why that injury happened. What could have been done if it's an injury? What could have been done to prevent it? And if there is something went wrong with the movement pattern or the joint stability, or anything could have been done to improve the patient's chances of not having the injury, we work on that. If it's a medical condition, which is like MS or stroke or any other neurological condition, we try and see how much patient is affected, what is going on, because all these conditions, they have kind of like a baseline where, there are like similar symptoms we can expect, but we can improve the function depending, but every patient has different kind of symptoms, right? Some patients have more involvement of legs or hands or balance, falling, we work on that. But if somebody has pain, we have to go to the root cause of why they're having pain. What is in their daily activities causing the pain to happen, and how the pain is limiting them, and then develop a strategy to work with them on a personal level.
We're joined on today's program by Nimesh Seth with Resurgence Physical Therapy, located now also in West Bloomfield Township, on today's edition of the Megacast, talking about physical therapy. You can find more information soon on their website that's currently under construction, resurgenceptmi.com, will be the website for all of that information. Check back very soon to learn more about Resurgence Physical Therapy. And Nimesh, as you're going through those programs and you're designing them, a lot of people from the outside looking in that maybe have never experienced physical therapy may wonder, well, how do these plans differ from just a basic training plan that you may get from a personal trainer, or just enact yourself to try to improve your mobility, or improve your flexibility, reduce some of your pain? How do these sorts of programs in physical therapy differ from other forms of training your body?
Okay, very good question and valid question. So a physical therapists go through an intense program of learning, the body as a whole. We go through 3.5 years of program for physical therapy to become a physical therapist, right? We learn about the body biomechanics and physiology and anatomy, and we get involved with physicians and orthos, and we're trained a little more, a lot more than a personal trainer, and we know the etiology and everything about the the diseases and what patients come in with, like MS or stroke, and we working on the root cause. We're just not giving you a plan to work in gym, but we're working to treat you. We're working to help improve the condition and sustain the mobility and balance and your function to work in your daily routine. And it takes a lot more than just going out to gym. I personally believe, it's important for everybody to exercise. And it's very important to work with somebody who knows about exercise. So I definitely tell my clients when they're done with physical therapy to maybe go out, when they go to gym, to work with a personal trainer who have not, people who have not been working out on a regular basis, because you can hurt yourself doing certain exercises. And people look at other people lifting heavy weight, doing certain exercises, and they hurt. I have seen a number of patients in my life where they have done worse for them working out in a bad way than not working out. So it's important to have some kind of guidance, but physical therapy, and it's a different branch. We deal more in medical side of training and treating patients. And it's very, we develop at Resurgence Physical Therapy, I personally try and develop every single plan to treat a patient on an individual level. So it's not like a cookie cutter plan for everybody, because every single patient has different symptoms. Every single patient comes with a different problem, even though it's the same injury, but why it happened and how we can prevent it, it's totally different for every single client.
And it's interesting too, because there's such a variety of different reasons why people go and they seek the physical therapy or in need of the physical therapy. And there's so many different outcomes too, and whether those are a full recovery from an injury or just those slight improvements that you may be able to see from physical therapy results in someone, like you said, that may be dealing with multiple sclerosis or with the aftermath of a stroke or other neurological issues that can affect your mobility. Just how typical are the outcomes from physical therapy? What sort of difference can they make in someone's ability to live that full and healthy life as normally as possible, given whatever condition they may be in from the time that they enter and start working with you or another physical therapist to the time that maybe they're done or they've been there for a while and are starting to see results?
So it totally depends about what is their condition, where they are at the level of their medical condition. If it's just a injury related, like a sports injury related, therapies they're seeking. A lot of younger kids are playing, different sports at school. They get injured, they come and, or even college level patients, kids are playing different sports and they come in with injuries. Their recovery can be full. They can recover back to their normal prior level of function and get back to playing sports again. As a physical therapist, my job is to make sure that they don't get that injury again. They're rehabilitated to a point where they can control and correct their movements and improve their ability to participate in the sporting activity without getting injured. Now, if it's surgical procedure like hip replacement or knee replacement or lower back surgery for spinal fusion, it totally depends what the prior level of function was. You might have seen a lot of patients or a lot of people around you who have gotten knee replacement or hip replacement, and you can't even tell they have any issue going on. And some patients do have some remnant pain in their knees or hips after the surgery. It just depends what their functional level is, how much they were participating, and what is the compliance level with physical therapy. And sometimes it depends on the body as well, how well the body's rehabilitating back, and it's coming out of that the root cause of the surgery, like arthritis or any kind of injury. There are a lot of medical conditions like stroke and MS, and a lot of studies prove that patients who have these chronic illnesses, chronic illnesses, patients are going to regress. It is a chronic condition. It is going to, make the patient or, person more and more dependent on external service, because it's going to make their body regress. But a lot of studies have shown that with continued physical therapy or some sort of exercising, they can prevent the degree of decline and improve the function and elongate, their level of independence and function as long as they can. And that's what we're all trying to get and trying to do with the increase in the number of people getting these chronic conditions.
You can check back with Resurgence Physical Therapy out of West Bloomfield on the website, currently under construction, but info will be there very soon, resurgenceptmi.com, or give them a call, 248-562-7846, 248-562-7846 for more information and get in contact with the professionals at Resurgence Physical Therapy. We're joined by Nimesh Seth on today's edition of the Megacast, the president of Resurgence Physical Therapy in West Bloomfield. And as great as the benefits can be of physical therapy, typically, as you mentioned, you are a medically trained professional physical therapist, have several years of medical training to understand the body and to understand the functionality and be able to treat all these different ailments in the way that they do. So is it typical? I would assume it's most typical that people are referred to physical therapists from doctors, but can this also be elective?
Yes. So with the numerous changes in the world of physical therapy, Michigan is one of the states where patients can just walk in for physical therapy treatment, and they get evaluated. We don't need a prescription from the physician, but it's always it's beneficial for, as a physical therapist, to check back with the physician to see what is going on and how things are going, and what is the reason. But definitely, the patient can walk in, and I will be able to do an assessment for the patient.
But I park there and I get out.
I don't know, guys at Master Control, we seem to have some noise in the background. If you could take care of that, please, so we can keep things going here. Appreciate it now that it's gone. We're joined by Nimesh Seth on today's edition of the Megacast from Resurgence Physical Therapy on today's program. Again, you can get in contact with them by phone, 248-562-7846. And I understand you're now also in West Bloomfield Township, Nimesh. Wherever you moved in, if people would like to stop by and as you said, elective services as well as referrals from their doctor.
Yeah, I mean, I would be more than happy to, just stop by and see. I work personally with every single patient of mine, and my practice is based on one-on-one care for every single patient. And we try and rehabilitate you as much as possible to your prior level of function. I'll be more than happy to help anyone who needs physical therapy to get back to their, long-term goals.
More information can be found by phone, 248-562-7846. Nimesh, before we let you go, anything else we should know about the services you provide at Resurgence Physical Therapy, or about any of the services people can get by going to their physical therapist?
So I'm the primary physical therapist at Resurgence Physical Therapy, and I'm certified in a lot of manual techniques for orthopedic conditions. I'm certified in treating and working with neurological conditions like Parkinson's and stroke, utilizing LSVT, big protocol. I'm also certified in training and treating chronic pain syndrome using peripheral PNE. And it's pain neuroscience education, which really works for patients who have chronic pain syndrome. And I've been working with 3 to 4 patients currently, and they're showing immense progress. As I mentioned before, I train my patients and I work with them one-on-one. So it's not like you will ever see like a herd of patients and me juggling between patients and you seeing a different therapist every time you come in. So I'm very, very particular about how I'm treating my patient and what is the goal and how can we rehabilitate you back to your real life functions and getting you back to where you want to be.
Well, Nimesh, we appreciate you joining us and telling us more about the many different benefits of physical therapy and how professionals in the industry like you work to help patients with a variety of different ailments and reasons for visiting a physical therapist. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me over. I appreciate it.
Appreciate having you on the show to talk about all the different ways that physical therapy can benefit people, regardless of their situation, whether they're dealing with recovery from stroke or MS or other conditions that may affect their mobility and their ability to move normally, or if they maybe have suffered an injury or just have a little bit of soreness and some ailments and want to have better movement practices on their own as well. Physical therapy also can be immensely benefit to all those things. We appreciate you joining us to tell us more. We'll take a short break here on the Megacast. On the other side, we'll be joined by one of over 300 charities and nonprofits supported on the Shared Detroit platform. This is the Megacast.
When the temperatures are chilly, being together warms the soul. Keep the winter fun going. Help protect yourself and those around you by keeping your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. Can I ask you a question? Why do you want to get the COVID-19 vaccine?
I don't like getting sick. The virus will die. It will be easy to not catch it. Keep my family safe and keep playing soccer. Because I love being vaccinated.
What's your hope for everyone?
I hope everybody gets the vaccine to keep safe and strong. Be like happy, having fun everywhere. Everyone stay safe and hope you get the vaccine.
Welcome back to the Megacast, our live daily TV, radio, and streaming show talking about all things Michigan. I'm Tyler Kieft. You can learn more about our program by visiting our website, civiccentertv.com/megacast, where you'll find more information on all of our partnering stations across the Great Lakes State, including My Michigan TV, and find all of our full shows and each individual interview segment online as well on demand. civiccentertv.com/megacast, the place to go for all of that. Joining us now on the Megacast is one of over 300 charities and nonprofits supported on the Shared Detroit platform. Mary Naber is the president and CEO of PACE of Southeastern Michigan and joins us on the program now. Mary, thanks for joining us today.
Good morning. Hello, Tyler. How are you?
I'm great. How are you doing today, Mary?
Very well. Thanks.
Glad to have you on to talk about this. So tell us about the history of PACE and the mission of your organization, how it helps people here in Southeastern Michigan.
Okay, so the best way to describe what we do is that we take care of chronically ill, older adults who would otherwise be in the nursing home if they weren't in PACE. We kind of wrap our arms around them and take care of the whole person, their body, mind, and spirit, keeping them independent in the community, hopefully to the end of their life. Our mission is to keep them out of a nursing home. We've been in business for over 30 years. PACE stands for Program of All-Inclusive Care for the Elderly. There are 148 programs across the country. There are 14 in the state of Michigan. It is a partnership between CMS, Centers for basically Medicare Services, and the state Medicaid department. So most of the people we take care of are chronically ill, older adults who want to remain independent in the community. And they are low income.
And to do that, it requires a number of different services in order to help support some of those different efforts that go into living a long and healthy life outside of a nursing home or another assisted care facility. So what are some of those services that you are providing to individuals through PACE?
Well, first of all, what is unique about us is that we're their insurance company. So we pay for everything that they need. There is nothing out of pocket for them. And our funding comes from Medicare and Medicaid. And then all that we provide is basically what that individual needs to keep them in the community. We transport them. We have a fleet of 150 buses across Southeast Michigan. We transport them to and from our centers. We have these health centers, and inside the health centers, we have urgent care clinics where we provide primary care to all of our participants. That's what we call them. We have a full rehab gym that they can access whenever and as often as they need. And we have full day centers where they have cognitive stimulation and socialization and activities to keep them interested and engaged in with one another. So the other kind of services that we provide is that everyone is assigned a nurse and a social worker and a primary care team. And in that, there are additional physical therapists, there's occupational therapy, we provide all the medications, we support them with their behavioral health, mental health needs, we provide at-home services, including private duty type of services, which means we help them with daily activities of living, showering, transferring to and from their wheelchair to their chair, those kinds of things, to their bed. We provide nutritional counseling. We have dietitians on staff. We have pharmacists on staff. We have speech therapy. You name it, we probably provide it. We even do laundry services. As I said, we kind of wrap our arms around them and provide everything they need to keep them independent in the community. These are very chronically ill older adults.
And you mentioned too, they're often in lower income situations too, and when
Yes.
that is a factor, you know, in those situations, these individuals may still be working, or may have just gotten to a point where they can no longer work, and that income and possibly even that insurance that they would have through their employer may not be there. So in those situations where someone is in need of that care and in need of those services quite rapidly, how do people get involved? How do people then get into contact and have the services available to them through PACE?
Okay, we have several ways that we can they can contact us. There is an eligibility for the program that people need to meet, and we have an intake service that will ask questions and make sure that people meet the requirements of the program. But they can call our main number, 855-445-4554, and you press number 2, and you'll speak to our enrollment specialist. You can also go to our website, www.pacesemi.org. That's PACESEMI.org, and click Contact Us, the tab, and do general inquiry. The last way is you can always email us at info@pacesemi.org. And those are the 3 best ways. I'll say the best way is really by calling us, 855-445-4554. And our enrollment specialist will talk to you and ask you questions and determine whether or not you meet the eligibility of the program.
And sometimes it's best to, Mary, for these individuals and for their families to have that consultation also happen in person. I understand that you have locations throughout southeastern Michigan for people if they're in need of some of these services or to discuss some of these issues. Tell us about those locations and what are provided by those different areas.
Yes, we have centers throughout. We have currently 7 centers throughout Southeast Michigan, and these are actually health facilities. And we also have a corporate office that's located on Northwestern in Southfield. The centers, we have 2 in Detroit, one in Rivertown and the other one in Detroit Northwest in that old Redford area. We have one in Dearborn, we have one in East Point, one in Southfield, one in Sterling Heights, one in Pontiac, and soon to be, our 8th center will be in Clinton Township. As you can tell, there's a great need to provide this kind of supportive life care to seniors in need who are chronically ill, to keep them out of environments like institutional living.
More information.
Our corporate office, do you want to know where that is located? It's 21700 Northwestern Highway in Southfield.
More information can be found on PACE by visiting the website pacesemi.org. That's PACESEMI or PACE Southeastern Michigan.org for more information. You can also call them 855-445-4554, 855-445-4554. For more information, joining us on today's edition of the Megacast is Mary Naber, the president and CEO of PACE of Southeastern Michigan. You can also learn more about them by searching PACE of Southeastern Michigan on Share Detroit's website at sharedetroit.org. Just go into their Find a Nonprofit section to learn more information about PACE and their services. And in terms of the ways that this does help these individuals continue to live a longer life, a healthier life, especially in those later years and in their socioeconomic situation, just how much of a difference does having PACE's services in their life and available to them make in having those more positive outcomes near the end of their life?
Oh, I think there are multiple ways in which, if you were to talk to our participants, many of them who enter the program after having a stroke cannot walk. But by being in the program, there's a lady right now at Sterling Heights who just showed me how she was dancing, and she could not walk a year ago. So the quality of life improves. The socialization, the cognitive stimulation, the support to the caregivers. If they have family members who've been providing care, we can help support them in the way that we provide care, because they come to our centers sometimes 3 days a week, sometimes 5 days a week, depends on what that person needs and what that family needs. So there's a lot of supportive needs. There's also research that says that people who chronically ill older adults who are in PACE live longer, live a higher quality of life, and there's research to support that.
Again, more information can be found on sharedetroit.org or pacesemi.org. Directly from PACE of Southeastern Michigan. You can also call them 855-445-4554 for information and inquiries as well. And we're joined today by Mary Naber, the president and CEO of PACE of Southeastern Michigan, on today's edition of the Megacast. Again, just their website one more time can be found, PACE, S-E-M-I, or pacesemi.org. For more information. Mary, a couple more minutes with you before we'll need to say goodbye today. Anything else we haven't discussed yet on PACE and its services that you'd like our audience to know, or other ways that the community can also help support these programs?
Yes, there's two things I'd like to say. One is that, of course, we're experiencing the short staffing that everyone else is. But I think what's really unique about what we offer in the healthcare world is that we hire all the disciplines. We're hiring drivers, we're hiring nurses assistants. We have a job fair tomorrow at our corporate office from 12 to 5 for all those roles, nurses, physical therapists, occupational therapy, etc. And we'll have another job fair on February 15th from noon to 5:30 at our Pontiac Center, which is located at 823 Golf Drive in Pontiac. So we're always hiring. We think we pay a very marketable rate, and our benefits are extra competitive. I'll just say it that way. So if you're interested, please come and see us or contact us on our website and press careers and take a look at what we've got. The other thing I wanted to mention is that we always have opportunity for volunteers and donations. Our donations go directly to our participants to keep them independent in their community. The program can only pay for so much related to health care, but if they need a new mattress, if they have a leaky roof that needs repairing on their old home, that's what we use our donations for. So for both of those things, you go to our website, www.pacesemi.org, press volunteers if you'd like to volunteer, and press donations if you'd like to donate. We'd love to have more people participate in our community.
Always a number of different ways that you can help not only PACE of Southeastern Michigan, but organizations all throughout the Metro Detroit area. Learn more information on all those on Share Detroit's website at sharedetroit.org. Mary, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.